What the f? Okay, today we're talking about Aron Beauregard's Playground. Fuck. Okay, so what is my history with this book? I was introduced to extreme horror with a book called The Eighth, and I was very disappointed by it, not because of that it wasn't, fucked up, but just I wasn't very satisfied with the way it was written. The prose was pretty simple. It was a very thin book, and it was double spaced, and the story, I don't know, I just didn't really like it for obvious reasons, not because it wasn't extreme. And then earlier this year, I ended up reading a book called Dead Inside, and that got more into the extreme aspect I've been looking for in extreme horror books. And I was genuinely shocked by the stuff that happened in Dead Inside. And I'm like, how can we top that? In comes Aron Beauregard's, hopefully I'm saying that right, Beauregard's Playground. And this just upped that ante by 100, maybe even 1,000. You know what? Fuck it. It's just, this is the most fucked up book I've ever read. So yeah, the plot of this is that basically this old lady and her ex-Nazi friend develop a playground. It's basically full of like the most demented saw traps you can ever imagine, and then they invite these low-income families in to play on the playground, and they have to endure a gauntlet of horrors and terror and just all manners of fucked up shit. So yes, this was, I saw some reviews on Goodreads and whatnot, and a lot of people said that this was just the worst written book ever, and I actually don't agree with that. I was about to say I beg to differ, because I think in terms of just literature wise, this was a well-written book. That's about the only aspect I wish to speak of in terms of just approaching it as a reader. I did feel for a lot of characters in this book, and I physically reacted to a lot of characters' deaths in this book. The book did a fantastic job of building up very specific characters. There were some people who deserved to die and got exactly what they deserved. There were a lot of characters who died the most horrific deaths who did not deserve it. So I was cheering when the assholes died, and I was very, very upset when some favorite characters of mine met their demise. But that's pretty much all I want to say in terms of the quality of the book. I think everyone clicked onto this video to figure out what's so fucked up about this. Well, god damn, what isn't fucked up about this? This book is gonna forever make me think about rancid bajingos. If you watch Scrubs, you know what I'm talking about. Well, first off, this book has 2 warnings. Warning number 1 reads, "This book contains scenes and subject matter that are disgusting and disturbing. Easily offended people are not the intended audience." Okay, and now for warning number 2, this book contains scenes of graphic violence involving children. So if you're watching this and you hear either of those warnings and you're like, yeah, no, that's not for me, then by all means, please do not buy this book and then bitch about it for reading stuff that clearly you don't have the cojones to bear. So with that being said, this one even tested me. Just the way it describes a lot of the gore, especially a lot of like the earlier stuff, when the old lady is being eaten out by his manservant, that was just fucking disgusting. this is like, I would say this is like the Serbian film of books. And this is kind of falling in line with a club in college that I started. I went to film school way back when, and we formed a little club in which we called it the Fucked Up Film Club. And that's when we challenged ourselves as up and coming filmmakers to basically put ourselves in front of movies that would test our strengths emotionally and physically. And the only one that has not been topped since its initial release and since I watched it with my little film crew, my film club, was a Serbian film. Now, if we were to start a fucked up book club, this is right at the top of the list. Now, mind you, I haven't read a lot of fucked up books. I have a few contenders for the most fucked up. I think I can only count on one hand how many fucked up, or as they're called, splattercore books I've read. I can only count those on one hand. So I have a lot of deep diving to do. Why am I doing this to myself? You know, I don't know. I guess sometimes, and I think this may go for a lot of other people, they just like to experience the extreme in the same way that maybe some people like to experience like roller coasters, which is ironic because I don't really like roller coasters. I mean, come on, I can't exactly fit on one safely. This is the same logic I have with reading challenging material, just to push the boundaries of, just see how far that I can go personally with this kind of material. Now, the fact that it's children is what disturbed me the most. There are kids getting whacked in this in the most horrific ways. There's like kids being ground up like meat in a big old industrial meat grinder. There is a poor little child who is ridden down a slide full of razor blades like a skateboard. That was I really hated that person. There is like a vat of acid, and I bet you know what falls in there. So yeah, it's challenging, and I guess I should have warned. And I think a lot of people know going into this. This is a spoiler review, so sorry about all of those little spoiler drops, but can I suggest this book? I don't know. You have to be a very specific kind of reader to willingly buy this. You know, I walked into it pretty blind. This was actually suggested to me on, like, you know, you buy with Dead Inside, actually. You know, I'm on Amazon, I buy Dead Inside, and then at the bottom there's like, oh, there's like this, and this was right here, and that cover alone was pretty gripping. So I'm like, okay, what's this all about? Well, now I know. And this book will haunt me. I guess as far as the formatting goes, it is pretty small font, but it's not exactly the most challenging reading out there. So, you know, I think that's one of the things I always like looking at, especially when buying a book, is the formatting. And, you know, if it's like, I can't really do like really tiny prints, and I really actually hate those old school like paperback books that fit in your back pocket. I just don't like those for some reason. But I think formatting wise, it's pretty good font, pretty good spacing. Like I said, it's not overly demanding in terms of like the literature and how it's written. So, and I almost forgot to mention that there are indeed illustrations in the book. And I have to find one in particular just to give you a little hint of what to expect if you choose to read this book. And if you do, me included, may God have mercy on your soul. Let me see. Okay, you ready for this? I hope this does. It's not gonna monetize or anything, but you know, I'm just gonna, here we go. And oh no. Yeah, so, you know, if something like that disturbed you right then and there, do not read this book. If you can stomach like this, then maybe this is okay for you. I don't know. I don't know. I'm actually quite uncomfortable talking about this because, you know, like I said, how can one talk about this when it's like the most heinous shit ever put into a book? So, But hey, you know, there's 2 warnings on this book. If it's not for you, don't buy it. I can't imagine this is going to be like anybody's favorite book, but hey, if you're looking for the extreme, this is the extreme. It did introduce me to the genre, the subgenre of splatter core. So now I know what to look for. And I know that this author, Aron Beauregard, has written other splattercore books. Something called The Slob comes to mind. And I may get that. You know, in fact, I will, just to see, you know, what other kind of fucked up shit can this guy conceive. So, yeah, that's my review of Play. Oh, yeah, what is my favorite part? Okay. I'm going to try to avoid saying names to say that the spoiler, but I will say that there is a deliciously evil woman in this book. And let's just say that by the end, she gets exactly what she deserves. So that was probably my favorite moment in the book. And that's a plus considering that there's not a lot of other like satisfying moments like that in the book. So that's my little review discussion of Aron Beauregard's Playground. Have you read this book? Would you read this book? And if you have read this book, what did you think of it? Do you find it annoying that people will buy this book, start reading it, see the 2 warnings, not even finish the book, and then immediately go on to something like Goodreads and then bitch about it, like, this is the most fucked up thing ever, whoever reads this is a psychopath? I'm like, you had 2 warnings, person. Now you know, avoid it. But yeah, there you go. That's Aron Beauregard's Playground. Check it out, or don't, maybe don't. But yeah, this has been Harrison with Harrison Reads, and I hope you enjoyed this video about that particular book. See you next time.